D-backs are dealing with really one of the craziest stories I've ever seen covering sports here in the Valley. Certainly one of the craziest stories involving a star player in baseball. Here's the latest. Ketel Marte was put on the 10-day injured list Thursday with, of course, that knee injury. This after Marte, his agent, D-backs manager Torey Lovello, and GM Mike Hazen had an in-person meeting with Marte yesterday afternoon to clear the air and get some explanation on kind of what's been going on, right? This all started with Marte no-showed Monday's game in Boston, and up until that meeting, the team did not know a reason why. Marte's agent says he's dealing with a personal matter. The D-backs, of course, have been down this road with Marte before. He asked for a day off during the final week of the 2024 season in the middle of a playoff hunt. And then, we all remember last year, he didn't show up for the first series after the All-Star break. Here's a look back at this week.
I still believe he was going to be here, and he just didn't show up.
Did you have communication with him?
Very little this morning, this afternoon, and I just was doing my best to reach out to him, and there's very little coming back.
He's here though in Boston. Is he here?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Haven't had any contact with him, and still hoping he's okay, and looking forward to having a connection with him at some point as soon as possible. But overall, I just feel like when you don't show up to work, something is on your mind, something's not right, and we got to get him right.
Some part of some of the players was probably thinking about the guy just out of care for our teammate, care for our brother. Knowing that a member of our family was was hurting in some way. Appropriate conversations were had, among us teammates. Just now knowing that he's okay. Him and his family are there's not something too crazy going on there.
We all care about him first personally. That's not swept under here. But we were just saying, to not show up to a game, I mean, you're the guy here. For me, this is much deeper than missing a game. I mean, we've talked about the Marte drama throughout the last couple of years, but I know this guy. I know his heart. I know the player he is. He doesn't not show up for a game unless something serious is going on.
We are fully committed to helping in any way that we can figure out how this gets better and moves forward.
Do you think Ketel Marte is going to play again this year?
I'll say that I'm hopeful. I've never not been hopeful. But as far as all the, going too far beyond that is probably not something that I can honestly get into.
We're going to have to get explanations from him and apologies from him, and hopefully we can pick up the pieces and move on and turn the page. Like you guys said yesterday, it felt like we turned the page yesterday, winning that game, because I can tell you, Monday and Tuesday we did not look like ourselves, and as much as we preached and tried to make it as little a distraction as possible, it obviously was on their mind.
Yeah, of course, Torey Lovello there from the D-backs post-game show. You had Mike Hazen, Corbin Carroll, and Derek Hall there on Arizona Sports 98.7 FM this week. Liam, just a crazy week. It's crazy that the D-backs are in this situation. You feel from Marte. What a wild week. Just got out of the D-backs clubhouse, and you're going to hear from some of the guys in just a minute. Bottom line is there's still a lot of questions. Players still don't really know what the reality of the situation is. I heard Todd Walsh ask Ryan Waldschmidt a question, and it sounded like Ketel at some point is going to address the team. Derek Hall said he somewhat expects him to and probably needs to hear an apology from him, but it's just been a weird week.
Yes, and quite frankly, at this point, I believe it's a sensitive, sticky subject, how the team handles it, what fans, what us as media, what people in the clubhouse know, and when they learn it. But it is problematic to not show up when you're expected to show up for work. Who knew that information? Obviously, it was not the people who needed to know that information well in advance. So that is troublesome, and you just hope that everything is okay mentally, physically, outside of baseball, because you care about the person. But yes, he will have to address his teammates. There are players in there who have questions about why this happened. If nothing else, explain why something like that would happen. Maybe not the reasons behind it, but it is unheard of for a guy to just not show up. And as we've kind of expressed, like, it's not like this is a pattern of behavior as a character thing.
Sure, but it's happened before.
It's happened before, but not to no call, no show, I guess, so to speak, on a Monday.
It doesn't happen in baseball.
It doesn't happen in baseball, and it's leaving room for speculation.
It is.
Among the fans. I've heard several different theories from the grocery store to our anchor desk. I mean, fans are talking, and if there are no answers, they're going to continue to come up with their own theories as to why. And then you talk about a guy who was going to have maybe a statue out in front of this ballpark. The way that
Archie
the fan
Bradley
base
said that,
has kind of turned and soured on this player because of this situation that's transpired just this week, it's fascinating to see. And I just hope that there's some resolution for the longest tenured player in this clubhouse, a superstar, someone that Torrey has stuck his neck out for several times.
Everybody in this organization has.
Just hope that everything
I
finds
hope
a
they get
resolution.
an explanation soon. It's important to care about the person in Marte, but he's got to communicate. And I think that's what the D-backs are asking for at the minimum. You heard Derek Hall, like, we'll help you. We'll do whatever you need be. Just you got to let us know. And I think that's a fair explanation.